local entrepreneur from a D-town who's done extremely well. I'm very, very proud of. So I think let's just have a conversation. Omang, utswagai, unyakang mo.
Na fede. Ki Itumeleng Hlapane ke tswa ko Italy. Letsoalo Italy. Ko Val. Yeah. Na ke Italiana 18 emoyeni waya panza phezulu. Yeah, by profession, every time I would like to introduce myself first as the person that I think molded what I am today. And is that I'm a theater performer and theater practitioner with many years of national, international experience. Got into the space of entrepreneurship and business education later on in life. I own one of the fastest growing coffee and ice cream shops in the Val. As a matter of fact, we're opening the fourth one next week, Wednesday, on the 1st of October. All based in the Val. That one will be at the Everton Mall. I also work for Gordon Institute of Business Science as a guest lecturer. Recently been appointed as the senior business advisor for the Gordon Institute of Business Science. Have a co-working space in the Val. It's a retail co-working space where I was having a chat with this lady. We take people like her with a product or a business that they don't know where to plug in. We take underutilized spaces in the mall, and I would put all of you in one shop as big as this. You come with your table. It's an everyday stall for 12 months. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And one thing that pushes me every day is the idea that I live by every day, that you get, you give, you learn, you teach every day. Thank you.
Good afternoon, once again. So I am Marang, Marekimane. I used to work for corporate. I used to do process and project management for corporates and mostly for banks and insurance companies. I did that from like 2002 until 2014. And then I decided, and in between I dabbled in other businesses and had big learnings and big upper hand punches and all sorts and rolled with it. But in 2014, I then decided that I'm going to go completely on my own and service specifically small businesses. So I've been doing that since, and I've tried different models of working with and for small businesses. And then along the way, I meet people like Derrick, I meet people like Bulelani, and then they keep cracking the whip and making me work harder. But yeah, that's pretty much my background. So like I said earlier, I focus now on digitalizing small businesses, finding ways for entrepreneurs to automate the environment so that you can sleep at night instead of like that with a wandering eye. But yeah, that sums up me.
Sorry. Minjani. I don't like the bass here.
You gonna use my mic?
Yeah, thanks. Makes my voice sound like I'm preaching. You see now this is better. So, I'm from Mozambique. Yes, he's from Italy. I'm from Mozambique. Mozambique Lipompo. So. Yeah, that's where originally I come from. I came to Johannesburg 1996. That would mean that I matriculated then, okay? And that would mean that I'm now at my 50s. Thank you. And that would mean that I'm married. Thank you. And that would mean that my daughter is now 21 years old. Right. So it's very important that you understand that part of life, because sometimes being entrepreneurs, we are humans. We have responsibilities, we have bills to pay, we cry like you cry, by the way, and we expect payment and they don't come through. I was asking Marang and said, are you still struggling with some of the clients that would not pay? You know, Christmas, they go on leave and you expect payment. But as we grow in a business, we tend to learn how to manage and how to budget so that we don't have to wait for certain payments. So I've been in the space of business advisory for a period of now 25 years. And 25 years doesn't mean that I know more than you know. Because now with AI, some of you have overtaken us. Honestly. Some of you now, you know much better than we know for the past 25 years or so. And some of you, you don't even see a need for us because you can go on AI. And then AI, how can I do a business plan? And AI put it together for you and all that. But having said that, in whatever business you do, you still need networks. You still need a human touch. You still need to relate with people. AI knows better, but AI doesn't know you. When emotionally you have problems, you can't call AI, but you need somebody that you will call and say, listen, I've got a problem, I've got a challenge, my business, I've got a challenge. And I normally tell people to say, when you have a business advisor, it doesn't mean that now you've got a father to control you. No. Business advisor, some of them you'd find that you have not been speaking to them for 5 years or for 10 years. But when you have a problem, don't be scared to call them and say, listen, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Where do I go? And then they'll be able to catch up and help you. So that is our job as a business advisors, and we are hoping that going forward, we'll be able to work with you because for me, my interest is every person I meet every day, it should be for life. Why? Because we are spiritual beings. We need to connect, we need to relate, and we need to work together. Because otherwise, we're just going to be spenders. We can't own the economy if we don't work together. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tumelo Letsoalo, young man from Davidson Extension 2. I run a landscaping company. It's called Moja Gardening. We've been operating since 2020, and now we've kind of hit a breakthrough of some sort. So we've left the residential space, and we're now entering the commercial and industrial space. So just to give you a little bit of background, just a young guy that enjoys creation. I like starting things from scratch. I like following up on ideas. And yeah, so from this year, we actually opened up our second business. I'm with my business partner right now. So yeah, it's called Washify. It's a fleet cleaning company and yeah, commercial cleaning enterprise. So yeah, and initially I got the idea for Imoja Landscaping from an assignment that I had in tertiary, a PR assignment, where we had to come up with a fictitious organization and then come up with a PR plan for the year. And then, yeah, my first attempt, I was not successful, so I had to repeat the assignment, and then that's when I had the idea for Moja Gardening. Yeah, basically that's me.
Yeah, well, the mic was off. So based off today's conversation, I mean, we're talking about digital transformation, but I think just before we get into that, I think you guys touched on a couple of key things. You don't get to where you are alone, you need to build community. But oftentimes, a lot of us as entrepreneurs get thwarted by the fact that, you know, I need this physical mentor. So do I need a physical mentor? And I think immediately after this question, then we can I'll run around the room. Let's ask as many questions as we potentially can. Do I need a physical mentor? Can I do it online? Is it a mentor? Sometimes I hear the word coach. Sometimes I hear the word sponsor. Gonna sound confusing. Are they the same thing or are they different so that I know who to approach when, at what time?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think one of the key things that I've recently learned in the journey of mentorship and business advisory is that the four are particularly very different. A mentor, a coach, a consultant, and a business advisor. And in most cases, when you go and ask for advice as an entrepreneur, you never know what you are looking for in that particular moment. You may come to me with a problem that needs coaching, but you think you need a mentor in that particular moment. I think your key thing is learn what are the differences between a mentor, a coach, a business advisor, and a consultant. Because sometimes mentees come to you with a problem that they want you to do for them. And that is consultation, is no longer mentoring anymore. And coaching is me, think about it from a sports perspective. A coach is sitting outside, is coaching you to do the actual work. William Fukeng is not necessarily depending on himself alone, but the guidance that they get from the coach, the coaching that happens there is very, very much important. There are a lot of few tools actually that can be also integrated in the whole mentoring process. I think it will also depend on, in this particular journey of your business, where you are in the journey, where am I, what do I need? Be very careful of that. Do I need a mentor now? Do I need coaching? Do I need a consultation? And from there, you can look at the digital tools. But those digital tools, like you said, my good sir from Mozambique, as you said, unfortunately, the AI is there to enable us to think deeper, not to be dependent on that. As soon as we get that tool, it needs to be integrated with your real life mentor. It needs to be integrated with your day-to-day experiences of your life as an entrepreneur.
The gentleman from Mozambique.
Thank you, my brother. You know, sometimes I would ask myself, would you ask a child if a child needs a parent? And some of the parents, they become more intelligent than they are. Some of the children, they become more intellectual, more than their parents, right? But there is a need for guidance. And this kind of parenting, you may not get it anywhere, except you walk the journey with somebody that has been there before, who understand the challenges that you may face. And I normally say that the day we don't have lectures in the lecture rooms, that is the day that we'll say we don't need mentors anymore. Because it would mean that we have reached a level where we can do it ourselves. But as long as we still need a human touch, we still need human beings to help us. Because let's not forget one thing. The day also we stop our critical thinking and rely on AI, AI will have nothing new to be fed with. So whatever we learn from AI, whatever we read from AI, it's fed by human beings. So our critical thinking has to remain, and we have to stay thinkers always, and we'll feed the AI will continue to exist. But once humans stop thinking, AI will stop to exist. Thank you.
And just to add one more thing about the business coach, mentors, and so on and so forth. I think the problem is with some of us, I'm not speaking for all of us, for some of us, is that when you hear business coach, when you hear mentor, you're imagining someone in an office, you're imagining like someone who's way over there. Whereas in your environment, it's literally just someone that has more experience than you. So let's just say that Nanik Batlorekisa di plate or di kota or something. My mentor, business coach, I would approach the lady who's been in business for the past 10 to 15 years because they know the road, they are ahead. I will take whatever it is that I take from them, then I add what I add, and we move forward.
Sure. And also, maybe if I may, there's one phrase that I think it's very interesting to me, and I've heard it so many times on radio, when they say, sometimes you think you are building a business, but your business is actually building you. You think you are building a business, but this business is actually building you. The characters, the determination, the consistency in everything that you do. And that is where the mentorship, I think, for me is key. That is where the mentorship, Mr. Derrick, that's a great point. Would you ask a child if they need a parent? And you need to think about the mentor that way. And also the relationship between a mentor and a mentee is not a one-way direction. It's a give and take. What is it that you offer your mentor? What opportunities can you create for your mentor, also for them to grow? Mentors also need mentors. It's an ongoing journey. It's a chain reaction. I have my mentors too as a mentor, and I'm sure they also have their mentors. But most importantly, do not rely on your self-knowledge. That is danger. That is danger to self.
Thank you so much there. And I think I've got a question for Marang, but I want to keep to my promise. Is there anyone who's got a question? Oh, yes. Oh. Let me walk to the lady who's got a question.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. My question is to the guy in the white from Val. Am I right? Yes. You said something very interesting. You say that you have a place where you bring all types of different people together, especially entrepreneurs. But is it only in the Val, or is it in the whole of Gauteng? And how much it is, and how do you actually advertise it? Is it on social media, or can you just give us a brief? Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. The place is currently running at the Perth Center. It's in Vanderbijl Park, Vereeniging Vanderbijl Park. It's going with a ridiculously low amount of 700 rand a month in a shopping center, in a mall. You pay 700 rand, you come with your table. If you have a kiosk, you come with your kiosk, you exhibit there for free. We do advertise on social media. If you want a link, I can drop my number, I can give you my business number, where immediately when you text, obviously you'll get a response with a link where you click and apply for space. Currently, yes, it's happening in the Val alone. We are looking at obviously expanding it as a model that we can duplicate in various malls. Wherever we see an underutilized space in a shopping complex, where it's a huge space where they haven't had a tenant for about 6 months, we already know there's a possibility that they won't have a tenant again for the next 2 years, especially spaces where they are occupied by big anchor tenants. It's not easy for them to get a tenant as quick as possible. So yeah, to answer your question, ma'am, only in the Val, if you can check Shaper Space on social media, Shaper Space or Shape Cafe, you'll get the link there to apply. But it's as low as 700 rand. And the reason, if I don't take a lot of time, the reason why we created this opportunity is because I know how inaccessible the shopping complexes and malls are for small businesses. Everyone that we've taken, all 40 of them, they've been rejected before by a shopping center because of affordability, compliance, product readiness, and everything. When we take you in the program, we also make sure that product presentation gets better. Your understanding of a business gets better. Business operations gets better. Funding opportunities are accessible to you from the moment you step in. Not guaranteed, accessible. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. I mean, Marang, you're someone who's a specialist, I think, in my view, building business processes and systems, but not even just that. I mean, earlier on, you took us through the business model canvas. And I think you touched on the importance of it. But I think before we even get into the business model canvas, why should I even think of processes in my business? What is this process thing? Because it seems like a big word, a pie in the sky. And is there a way of simplifying it in my business? And also, is it for specific businesses? Because when you think business processes, you think big business. Marang thengisa makota. Yabo, am I undermining it even when I take that disposition? How do I work around that?
So firstly, I think a lot of us, when we hear words like processes, we think we need to be a big established company in order to have processes. But I mean, simply put, a process is just the way that you do something. That's the short end of it, right? Why you need to be focusing on that element of your business is we don't, at least for most part, we don't always want to be the person that is working in the business why. At some point, you want to make space so that you yourself are starting to think about the business and thinking strategy and thinking about how do I grow this thing and focusing on those parts. So when you start having your processes in there, you start thinking about how do I automate it so that I start moving away and the business is not dependent on only me providing that particular service. You start having to think about how do I educate other people and build a team and get that team to be working the way I need them to work in order for us to service the clients the way we want to service our clients. If you undermine it, what it means is that everything is reliant on you and only you. You can't move away from it. You can't take leave. You can't take a holiday. In fact, you can't even sleep at night because all the worry is a burden unto you. So when to start thinking about it? Day one, so to speak, right? Watch how it is that you are running your business. Take the notes to say, okay, this is how I do things, this is how I do this, can I improve it, how can I make it more efficient for me to do those things, and then start fixing those elements around for your business. When you get to points, when you start putting in tools into your business, that's for you to make things more efficient, and for things to happen more without you getting involved. The examples that I was giving earlier, some of these things can happen without your own intervention. It's calculating for itself, right? We talk a lot about job creation in this country and unemployment being so high and things, and when we're a small business, we don't have the luxury of employing people who are educated, who have got work experiences or that sort of thing. We tend to employ people who are just available for us to then work with. You putting in processes in place, having it documented, having tools that you can work with, makes it easier for you to educate the next person. So that even if they leave your organization, they've got a work experience that is credible because they've worked in an environment that is structured. They can then go apply that experience elsewhere. And don't think of it as if it's taking something out of your environment, because while they're in your environment, at least they're servicing your customers to the standard that you have set for your business. When you think about scaling your business as well, you've got data, you've got experience to rely on. But I find that when people aren't focusing on the process improvement part of it, then even the thought of employing people, it stops. Because I cannot tell it once they're in my business and things like that. So that's where you need to focus it. And then you find somebody who's been in business for 20 years, but they have had no growth. And that's because they haven't put in the effort into improving their business processes. So that's where it starts to crumble. There isn't a system, if there isn't a process, we're as good as saying, here's my policy, here's my business plan, but it actually doesn't, because you're not doing the things that need the work to happen.
Evan, sorry. Ish, let's give her a round of applause. I think that's, and all of our panel. But I think before, there's a gentleman here who's got a question. I think before we take his question, I think Elder D, there's this thing, right? I think there's this common thing that comes up on social media that says that if you can't leave your business alone by itself to operate and run for 3 to 4 months, it's gonna die. And I think Marang is also touching on that. And I guess at the end of it, it says that you don't have a business. Is that a true thing? Should we be focusing on being huddled to our businesses or finding ways of detaching? Because sometimes when you detach, maybe that's why Kona Labaksha Kona Beso losing you. What are your thoughts?
Okay. I don't like this.
You don't like it.
You see, the reality is, if you don't put processes in place in your business, your clients will put processes and cut the price. I don't know if you heard me. Imagine a client comes to you and they spot a lot of errors in your business and say, before we deal with you, fix 1, 2, 3. And after fixing that, don't expect that client to pay the full price that you gave them. A lot of small businesses are shortchanged by big corporates. Because when they come to want to work with us, there are a lot of things we don't comply with or in. And what they do is, they come as a coach now, more than a client. They now become your mentor. Whereas if you positioned yourself well as a business, you were ready, they would come to you as a client and they would see you as a client and they would take the price that you give them. So it's very important also to understand that when you start the business, it's not time to deal with processes. The day you open the shop, your manual, HR manual should be in place already. You should know how you will hire people. It should not come by the time you are supposed to hire that you say, oh, hang on. By the way, what does HR law says when I hire people? No. So part of the research in business, a lot of people, we spend time doing research on product development, but we don't do research on what is it that is needed for my business to stay in the market. What is it that I need to do that will give it a competitive edge? That will make it different from others. And most of the things that will make us different is not the kind of product you bring, because the juice that you're selling me is the same as the juice that I'm getting anywhere. But your systems, your processes, your way of doing things, what do you know about the industry is what will make you different. Such that even if you are not there for 3 months in your business, those systems and processes that you have put in place will keep your business going. Even if you are in hospital, no one will panic because they know what to do. Imagine you are in hospital in those days, then they will come and say, please sign the check. Or some of you, even your bank, by the way, you are the only one who have a passcode for your bank account. You are the only one who can authorize the payments in your company. And what does it mean when you are not there? What does it mean if you pass away? Are you saying that the company can't pay the service providers because you are the only one who can authorize the payments? The staff gets paid at 12 a.m. because you were not available the whole day. You were busy. So you need to build a team and systems that knows, if I'm not here, who is in charge? So that you don't even delay payments of your staff. Because you are the only one with a PIN code for the salaries. Thank you.
Yeah, while you're still getting the mic ready, my brother, I think you must think of your processes as the engine in your car. Have you seen a beautiful engine? No, you haven't, eh? There's no such, nobody has a beautiful engine. But the AMG, it's nice. But the performance of the AMG, it's truly from the engine. Systems are not nice, they're not sexy, they're not attractive. They get the work done. Think of your systems like that. If you don't fix your systems, your employees will already pick it up. And that's an opportunity for them to tear down the house. As we build businesses, we've experienced that. You've brought somebody in your business when you started, and they almost killed your business. Because somehow they were aware that you are not aware of what's supposed to be done in your business. And that's an opportunity for them to kill your business. I'm sure we've experienced that, ne? When you are not aware of your systems, the employees that you bring in or partners or people that you bring in, they will see a loophole. People remember, human beings are naturally only loyal to their stomach. Only loyal to their stomach. When you do not create those systems, you are opening an opportunity. And systems change every day. I get about it, you stay in a kitchen long enough, you learn the recipe. The guy that you've had in your business for 6 months already know how to tweak things around. You improve constantly on your systems. And a great way to improve on systems is when something wrong happens. When something wrong happens, then you learn, this is how I'm supposed to do this thing. Don't be ignorant, be very intentional about it. Sure.
Thank you so much for that. But I've got a question here. There's a gentleman over there. There's a question, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Semso Sibe. I operate and specialize in reselling electronic products and any trendy products that is found on TikTok or not available in the regular markets or stores. So basically, I wanted to ask a question about, since the topic is based on automating the systems or any position or job job that's supposed to be done. So when it comes to AI, some of us don't even have the capabilities of using simple platforms like even taking money out of the bank without getting help from help from the staff. Ne? So basically, when it comes to AI, when I automate, let's say my WhatsApp, and somebody texts me, let's say a client texts me, but he or she doesn't like communicating with one simple language. Let's say, for example, I may say, hi, my name is Temso Sibe, ngihlala eDavidton. So how is AI going to accommodate the different languages, since in South Africa we are very much diverse in terms of languages, and how are we going to make sure that the customer service is still efficient, and the AI doesn't interrupt or makes the customer less trustworthy with making a transaction with the business? Thank you.
So maybe let me say one thing here. So how AI generally works, and I'll give to the panel, is through LLMs, which are large language models. So basically, if you go to ChatGPT now and say to ChatGPT, ChatGPT, I've got a problem. I'm dating a guy who's 45 years old. He decided that he's gonna cheat on me with this lady, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do I do? And it gives you an answer. So other models give you an answer and they ask you, maybe they give you 3 versions and ask you the version you prefer in answer. When you select the version, what are you doing? You're priming it. The more and more you ask it, which is what our gentleman from Mozambique was talking about, right? Because the more and more you ask it is the more and more you prime it, right? But the biggest challenges, and I think the biggest risks as well, that I think I've come across is that guys upload their management accounts, their financial statements, your private information. It's not private, you must just know that. If you've uploaded any private business documents or information on a ChatGPT platform and then asked it, please help me unpack this thing on my CV with my ID, it's now general information and can be accessed by anyone, anywhere in the world. You know, so smart individuals would say what you do is that you build something called a chatbot. So you go to AI, you get the premium version, ChatGPT, you get the premium version, you build a chatbot, and you utilize the chatbot to trade. So that even if you encourage your employees or your staff members to use ChatGPT and AI, you need to have strict policies in place around what they can put on there and what they can't put on there. Because I love the intro that was done earlier on. Although it's made to enhance, it must not be a replacement for a human being's mind. Because the moment it's a replacement for human being's mind, and I think I love how Derrick put it, right? Because the moment it replaces the people's minds, then what's the use of a human being? The job is not to replace, but the job is to enhance and refine. It must not think for you. Because human beings must think, it must automate. Panelists, what are your thoughts on this matter? And then I took a little step, but...
There's not too much more to add to what Bulelani has just said in terms of what AI is and how it can influence your environment, right? But I think, and in South Africa it's nice because it presents, because of our language diversity, it always presents a very interesting thing to implement a chatbot into an environment. And because we speak different languages and we mix, you know, I can start off my sentence in English and finish off in Xhosa, and somewhere in between there throw in some Sesotho and whatever, right? So because of that, then it means that you need to put your chatbot, your first questions when you are interacting with the person then could be to ask them, do you have a preferred language that you want to communicate in? And then the person can then be directed to speak in that language. But if it's then picking up that it's speaking, you know, multiple languages, you would have then trained the chatbot to pick up the different languages. So it will translate the question in those little parts in different languages, but then the answer would be in the preferred language that you have initially listed. So chatbot is not gonna come back with Zulu, Sotho, and English in one sentence. It's gonna give you in one preferred language. And that goes back to understanding who the customer is that you're servicing. Because in some environments, you know, the chatbot responses don't necessarily work because the person, the way we ask the question as well could just throw you off a tangent in terms of what it is that you get it as a response. And that's why I said to you earlier that if you're going to use AI into your productivity tools, make sure that you are clear of what the process is, right? You yourself, because if you put in a garbage instruction, you will get a garbage type of response into it, right? If you give a very clear and specific instruction or a specific question, then your answer is also directed to be a bit more specific. It won't be as vague. So I hope between that you've put it together, but create the auto responses and it makes life a little easier.
Thank you so much. We've got another question here from our lady. There you go, my lady. Oh, you sorted now?
Argument each time.
This table is active. This table is active.
Sanmonani. My name is Vuyo from Litchville. I do farming. So my question is, let's say we are Bonuti business is not working. We need to take a break, right? Is it okay to take that break and offer your services to someone else, maybe someone else's business? Is it considered as failing or is it a good break? I would like to know that.
So when you say it's not working, is it because you have actually looked at it and it's not like the feelings it's not working?
What about what feelings are teen? Like, let's say, for instance, like in my case, funding is not funding. And I can see Uguti, it's not working. So is it okay to step down, not to completely, just to step down and, as he said, Uguti, if I was and stuff, so is it okay to step into someone else's business? Or maybe if you get headhunted and you go to their business, is it okay? Is it a bad move? What is it? Is it?
Can I ask a question before you answer the panel? When you take a break, what must happen to your customers?
Okay, let's say instead of you scale down.
You scale down?
Yes.
Maybe that's a correct question.
At the same time, you are doing other people's...
Okay, you don't mean like close it completely?
No, you don't close down completely, but maybe you...
Okay, no, I understand. Because that was my question. If you close down, what must happen to us?
No, you're
for
not
you to come
closing
back
down.
again. Okay. Because entrepreneurs do that a lot. And that's a big problem that we experience with the hub. That next month a person says they are going through a lot. And they don't come. Yeah, they're going through a lot, they don't come. For me, in my personal opinion, that you lose customer confidence. You lose consumer confidence. But also, you also start to lose confidence in yourself. You start to believe that this thing is difficult for you to do. And a source of income will forever be a problem, unfortunately. No entrepreneur will have a consistent income, especially if you're selling a product or service, and it's not a funded program or funded project. You will consistently have periods where sales are not happening. But when you take a break because our funding is not funding, what must happen to me as your customer? Must I also go wish and wait for you to come back? But maybe the panel will also give, not a question, it's not an advice, it's a question. What must happen to me when you take a break?
Panel members?
Actually, when I tried to say something, I wanted to challenge audience to come up with these questions. Because you can ask us about mentorship and all that. What's going to help you? We want you to ask us about your problems that you have faced in your business so that we can help. So it's more like a group mentorship, a live session. That's what we are having now. So meaning that whatever question you may, and coming to the question, my sister, it's very, very serious what you said. And it takes me back to what this other gentleman said, that it takes 15 years to reach an overnight success. I don't know if you hear what I'm saying. Yeah. 15 years to reach overnight success. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of us, we get into business because we saw somebody that started a business 15 years ago making profit now. And we enter the business, then we expect to make profit now, right? And it may not be the case with you, my sister, but what is important is when you go into business, don't leave yourself behind. Don't leave your well-being behind. Don't leave your personal life behind. Don't leave your lifestyle behind. Because some of us, when we go into business, we don't go to gym anymore. We don't exercise anymore. We are not fit to run the business. So a business, it's got components. It needs you as a human being to be healthy, to be fit. And some of us, you'd find that you feel like you are exhausted because you were no longer training. You were no longer exercising. So what is important is, as you plan your business, ask yourself, where does it leave me personally? Is there a balance in my life? How I eat, how I sleep, and everything else. Do I take time for break? When we talk about break, it's not going to Devon or to go to Mozambique, no. Or to Italy, no. You can take a break where you know every Monday I'm off. What does it mean? Your phone is off, your communication is off, anything that has to do with business is off. You want to focus on yourself, personal development. You need to know, when do I study? Because studying is not about enrolling and then you have a good lecture here. No, you can do it on your own. You know that every Thursday, I'm doing personal growth through studying on my own. You enroll into courses that are free online or whatever, but you know. So once you develop that culture and habit, your body gets used to it, such that it won't tell you now, I'm now stopping and freezing. No, because you have already worked out the system. You know what to do on Monday. You know what to do on Tuesday. You know what to do on Wednesday. And by the time you know I won't be at the workplace, who is going to do the job for me? Customers will know every Wednesday you won't find her in the business. Why? Simple thing, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter whether you're going to Mozambique or Italy, the flight is waiting. If a Muslim wants to close at 12 o'clock to go to prayer on a Friday, they will close the shop. And you will wait for them. And whether you came to pay 100,000, they don't care. They rather lose your 100,000, but they will not close their shop. So let us create a habit, a balanced life, and a program for ourselves, and have a program that we need to live with, and we get used to it. And it will be easier to run our business. Let's not rush for profit. Because you need to allow your business to grow to a point where now you will get to a break-even point, and then from there you get to make profit, then you can have a lifestyle that you want. But let us allow our businesses to develop and grow steadily and sure.
Sorry, I just want
Sure.
to add
I
to
mean,
this thing.
yeah, please add, and then you next, and then I move.
I'm going to say problem/feeling you're describing as to, should I slow down? And we're calling it slowing down, right? We're not calling shutting down, right? It happens to a lot of us as you go through this journey. But for me, it has always been the time that I use to reevaluate what I'm doing. So that business model canvas that we did, re-look at it. If you're feeling despondent because the funding is not coming in, the customers are not coming in, the partnerships are not happening the way that you want to, things are not cooking the way that you want them to be cooking, that's the best time to reevaluate what is it that I'm doing in the business. Where are my revenue streams coming in? If those streams are not bringing in the revenue that you want to, is it time to drop a product? Is it time to, relook how I'm presenting this thing? So for an example, you may be struggling because you have been putting out social media posts there to try and get customers to come in through your way. And we were talking about having an intangible service, like a consulting business. Now you can't see the customers coming in, you can't see them anywhere. at that time, well, for me, I went through a moment of realizing that actually the social media marketing is not going to get people coming to my doorstep. But I can run workshops, I can do public speaking. Then I'm speaking in a room full of 100 people, 100 entrepreneurs about what it is they should be doing in their businesses to automate their business processes. I focused on that for quite a while because to move away from my marketing frustration. Moved into the into public speaking, and then people responded. Why? Because it was an easier opportunity for them to ask me questions, to interrogate what it is that I'm saying, for me to explain it better, right? That brought in that became a more successful marketing route than me putting in social media posts. But it all came from me having to relook this thing and saying, like, it's frustrating me. What part of it is frustrating me? And what can I do to look at it, to do it differently? We shouldn't be in a point where we're feeling so despondent and you're just like, hi, break it from Bona and then do something completely different from your business. Because to Itumeleng's point, what happens to those customers? And you leave them, and then when you think, okay, back to Bona, they've gone to other service providers, they've forgotten about you, so you're as good as starting from scratch. And you want to avoid that. You want to avoid from moving away to a point where you are crippling yourself. If you're going to take a pause to review, but come back a lot stronger, a lot more resilient as a business. Come back with a bit of a game changer into your business. Don't come back and the situation is still the same, because the frustration will not go away.
And then just to add on, so to give you a practical example, about a few months ago, I was in the same boat somewhat. So I decided, just to give you context, so they're like two guys in an estate. They bought a landscaping business, right? So they're like, we don't know what we're doing. We know you run a landscaping company. Can you come in and like help us out or something? So, okay, cool. Terms and conditions were there and there. I was like, I'll only dedicate a certain amount of time to your business and so on and so forth. But me doing that, and as frustrating as it was, in as also my business kind of suffered a little bit, I left with a new service to add onto my business. I left with an entirely new team that I can also add into my business, and I left with resources that I can also add to my business, which I'm benefiting from to this day. So I think the fact that I left to do a business that was bigger than mine, but also in the same field, it kind of helped me a lot.
Thank you so much for that. I've got about...
Sanbonan. I don't know whether... Okay. I don't know whether my question will assist, because I think it's two questions. One of the questions that I wanted to ask is that as a business person, at a certain point, you have to ask yourself a question. Is a principle bigger than morality? Why I'm asking that is that you are a business person or dealer Jews. You deal with indaba zama stickers. But the bulk of, and you are a Christian, and the bulk of your clients are tavern owners. At what point do you compromise that moral point vis-a-vis your business? The second one I wanted to check with you. It's deriving from Mozambique. Is that you are a political person. We remember ISS. And there's a political party that you don't like, which is ASS. And the person who go ASS on a Mali does advertise a political party. Now that person says to you, because you are a member of ISS, I'm not going to fund you until you do away with your political party. Now, I'm asking these questions because these are things as Africans we tend to delve into. As you know, that South Africa is more of a religious country, more Christian orientated and all those things. Therefore, I'm asking these questions in order to how do we adjust on those two occasions? The morality point versus your principle, and also your political inclination vis-a-vis your funder also being politically inclinated. And you need that money, and the person has it.
Mina, my simple answer is if it doesn't align with my moral compass, it's not happening. It's just, it's as simple as that, right? Because I'm also going to do it at a service. So the moment there's a part of me that doesn't believe this is right, this is not, it doesn't feel comfortable or anything like that, I don't want to participate, because I'm always going to be doing that job with one eye open, very not trusting and things like that. But also, if people don't want to work with me because of the values I have or how I work, I'm at peace with me not being the customer or me not being the supplier with it, again, for the very same reasons. I know there's some people that will argue that, you know, morals don't fill up a stomach or whatever the statement is. But I personally advise people, just don't do work that doesn't align with you. It is going to be very problematic. And I think that's where we, by and large, where we sit with conversations around corruption and people getting scammed and all of these kind of things. It's because you're just not working in alignment. Whoever you've gone to shop at, whoever is selling at, you're not working in alignment together, and therefore, it's all gonna be shaky right till the end.
Yeah, alignment is very important. And what has become common in a lot of entrepreneurs is their personal values do not align with their business values. Most of you here, your profile says honesty, integrity as your values, right? Integrity, honesty, and all that. But here comes a time where you need to prove that you are honest according to your profile. It doesn't come across. But your profile says honesty. And you find that what is in your, because in most cases, the values that your businesses must embrace should be the values that you personally embrace. You'd find that your profile says honesty, integrity, and all that, but your personal value says corruption, crime, and all these things. So what it means is that when you have values that you have already outlined in your profile or in your business, try by all means. There will be temptations, it's true. But try by all means, because these opportunities, they don't come when you are not, when everything is fine. No. Some of them, they come when you are desperate, when you are broke, when you know that actually, I don't have money tomorrow. And somebody comes with an opportunity and say, listen, we can do this way, and are you in or not? And guess what's going to happen? Because of the situation, you can go in or you can say, you know what, I'm going for it, God forgive me. Actually, we ask for forgiveness before we even do it. God, please forgive me. This is the situation I'm in. So sometimes this has to do with how deep is your faith in life and in your business. How much do you trust your God in your faith? Why do I say that? Because that is what will determine whether you stay corrupt or not, or clean. And on the political question alliance, politics are the game, eh? Actually, by the way, you find that Bumutsipe or whoever, they go open and say, no, we support EFF, we support ANC, we give money to any organization that we come across. So you don't give money, but you expect opportunities. But remember, you are not actually dealing with a political party, but you are dealing with individual who in the next 3 years or 5 years can be removed. We have seen in the Madlanga Commission how others have been now, others are even losing their jobs today. And that is the politicians that you agreed with yesterday. And you wake up and they lose their jobs. So stick to your ethics, stick to your business values, but stick to your marketing strategy and plans to get businesses. Thank you.
But also, that also, I think it goes back to the very same thing that you said, Mr. Derrick. When you run your business, don't leave yourself behind. Think about it. If you go against your morals in a business, you've already left yourself behind.
Sorry, I'm told that there's no follow-ups, but I wanted to, just a quick one. The business that we were dealing with my wife it's IR and HR matters that relate to labor law. Now, my political principles or my human nature principles as an African, it says, I can't support anything that comes from umuntu oyi racist. But umuntu oyi racist says to me, I want you to come and assist me with a labor law issue. And one of his clients is the one of Agumuntu Epoxini Wamshaya, Bamenza and everything. Now, my human nature as an African, it says I should not. Maybe my political inclination, it says I should not support this person because it belongs to a racist organization. And I'm living in this particular environment that I'm in South Africa. Should I go and assist this person or should I not?
So, our currency, our money rands do not have any political flag in it. It's got the lions, the rhinos, and all these other animals. I understand where you're coming from to say this person may be racist and all that. But you need to understand that we are doing transactions here. A lot of products that we are consuming today are from the racist companies. We are staying in a situation where a lot of big organizations today, they are run by racists or whatever the case might be. But we are still consumers. We are still buying from them. Even if you say we need to boycott there, people will tell you, I can't because I'm hungry. So why can't you do business just because of the line of, no, this is a racist or not? It's only when that person made a public statement which created a controversy in public that you can distance yourself or your business with those people. But not based on ideology and lose business on that. Only if somebody, I'll give you an example. There was a company that I was working with and we were doing very, very well. But there was a public statement about the owner of the company of what they said behind the closed door, which was a racist remark. And I withdrew from that company. So only when it becomes a public concern, and I'm not saying that public concern in the sense that, but if you can pick that this person is even racist to me, you can't do business with them. But not based on somebody said this or somebody said that. You need to evaluate and assess and say, can I do business here or not? For the sake of your business. We need money. We need the currency. Money knows no racism and knows no religion. The money that we get today, it goes to the Sangoma, it goes to a Muslim, it goes to Christians, it goes to church. We praise the Lord and shout hallelujah. We buy things, assets with it. So let's focus on building our businesses. Leave politics aside. Leave other stories aside. Let us build our businesses and grow our businesses. Thank you.
I think the gentleman there, I think you answered from what you wanted to hear from the panel. So we are going to take a gentleman here.
Thank you. Itumeleng. My name is Tsepo Mohoto. I come from Hlapane Business Consultants, right? By a show of hands, can I just see the Occupational Health and Safety Act here in the room? 1, 2. It's the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So obviously it's 1, 2, 3, I saw. So that's exactly, I would like your advice there from the panel. I run an occupational health and safety consultancy. Well, that's what I'm aspiring to do. So the problem is that obviously mokokasi, we have a problem here, or maybe lack of information, because the business people might not know their responsibility in terms of their act, and it's hard to even market myself, because when they don't understand what is it that they must do and what I must provide. So I would like some assistance, because when in a digitalizing world, and in Horemokokasi, it's even hard to give them the information. So I don't know what advice you can maybe give someone like me. But when I'm sure that almost all of these businesses need a service that we provide in terms of OHS or environmental management. So I'd really appreciate your advice there.
Okay, so one, your question was quite relevant to ask people if they know what the act is in the first place. And by you realizing that not even half the room knows what it is, that's where you're gonna start actually getting access to market, is by teaching people what is the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Ne? That's step one for you to even enter the market. Speak to the people who needs it, speak to them, find out what do they know about it, how do they implement it into their businesses. That's what you're going to teach them. When you enter into a space where people don't know anything about, not necessarily you, but about what you do, you have to spend time educating that market. Don't take it for granted that you're gonna walk into a room and people will understand what it is just because you've said a name. You know, and just because it's a law, it's required, doesn't mean everybody knows it. Some of us, we speak of BEE as an example, right? We speak of BEE, and then you say to people, no, buy from me because I'm 100% black owned and stuff. Like, a lot of people don't know what that actually means. Don't know. You know you're 100% black owned because your ownership on the director's scorecard says 100% she's black and she's female, therefore I can walk around that. What that means in the context of BEE is that there's a tax incentive to anyone that does business with you. And that tax incentive is based on the scores. So for me being black, there's a score. For me being female, there's a score. For me being, well, now I'm no longer under 35, but you know, when you're under 35, there's another score. You know, but those are all score points that belong to a BEE scorecard. Right? That's what it means to walk around and say, I'm a BEE supplier or I'm a 100% black-owned supplier. But a lot of us don't know this. You don't know it, so you can't take. So what does it even mean when I have an occupational health and safety compliance certificate? How do I use that to add value, to engage with other businesses or find other customers? That's the stuff you need to be educating other business owners for. When do I need it? Do I need it from the day I start a business? Do I need it later on? Do I need it, you know what I mean? How much does it cost to give this thing? What's the value of me being compliant in that stuff? Answer all those questions for the customer that you want to service, and it will be a lot easier for you to gain access to market.
Yeah, and then guys, just as you give the other individual the mic, there's a gentleman who lost his bag here. I think it was one of the tables. Table number 8. I don't know if you guys saw a brown table. Anyone, I think if you've seen a brown bag written Lokshin with the X. Blue, ne? A blue bag written Lokshin with the X. Please just see the gentleman at the back, please, or just let us know. Maybe under the table or Ramasaiti, maybe number 11 or something. Just please be aware. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, guys. Ikamanamo Kukuletu Orakaba. I am the owner of the Kota Hub in Barcelona. So my question is one, and it's very important, Kimina. Oguti, as a young business person, yes, my business is registered with CICP, but I don't know what else should I do to continue run the business, because I know in the food industry, you need to comply. So I'm just asking not only the panelists, but everyone in the room, maybe or the same industry that I'm in, or what else maybe I should do to keep my business flowing, or the necessary documents that I need to have for the business, because I know there are things that I really need to have as a business person, especially in the food industry. Because to be honest, getting information, guys, it's rare. We are stingy with sharing information. I can go to a person who's been in the business for 15 years, but they don't share that such information. So I'm hoping to get something from the group.
Okay. Maybe as a space that I'm in, health certificate will be the first one. And where do you get the health certificate? So you get it from your local municipality. So go apply for that, and actually that again for the health and safety. Yeah, you need to get food handling safe certificate. How do you handle your food, preparation, storage, how do you dispose your wastage and everything. So all that you can get from the municipality. You also need to get a pest control certificate. Pest control certificate, you can Google it, you can get it. There are individual service providers that can get you pest control certificate. Which guy? This guy. Oh, this guy. There's a guy who's doing pest control.
No, he does compliance.
Compliance. Oh, yeah.
You see, he's even forgotten and we're busy keeping it out.
From the ESPA.
But he does compliance.
Yeah, maybe you can engage with them. But for the sake of the room, those are the documents that you will need. Like I said, health certificate, your occupational health, if you are operating within a premises, you will need a fire extinguisher with a certificate that proves that it has been serviced every day. It sounds like a lot, but you hunt better with all of that. When you go look for opportunities with everything intact, you hunt better. That much I can tell you. Sure. If you don't, I don't mind also sharing my work WhatsApp. You can ask me, then I can send you a list of the documents that you may need. So.
Yeah, I think the ladies is gonna be sorted, like more than sorted, because if you get attention direct from the panel, aye man, you made it. I think the lady here is gonna be the last person for the question.
Sanibonani, igama lami uSibongile Mngomezulu. Mina ngine netball club ne. It's been 4 years nginayo. Since ngiyavolunteera and this year si-30. Sikhuphuka like every year. Le nto engiyenzayo umphakathi uyayithanda. So bengicela like ningangisiza ukuthi ngithole isponsor. Bebabhizi bangitshela ukuthi ngeke ukukhansela akukho la ngayanga khona. Sendile ama-emails and abantwana baningi kule community enguyo and amalapha awalikani khona labazo abazoba nemali transport khona laba banganayo yilaba abakwaziyo ukudlala and ngifuna ukuhamba nabo so kumele ngithathe lapha kuma savings wami ngihlala ngibroke nje life yami nini bengine tournament enkulu bengiletha abelungu so abantu ababelieve ukuthi nabelungu ngiyabaletha. So nje mangathola sponsor nje.
Is your business registered? Not yet. That's maybe the first point where you need to start. Similarly to when the other gentleman made an example from Nedbank, that you cannot give strangers money. Oh,
no, bengizama ukuyiregister bangitshela ngani ngama NGO nama ne NPO but bebafuna ukuthi mina ngikhiphe 1.8.
Aha, bega guesses ne. There is a great phenomenon that is called the social entrepreneurship. So social entrepreneurship is a marriage. I like to make an example of social entrepreneurship as Trevor Noah, born from a white father and a black mother. When you think about social entrepreneurship, you think about what impact or what work that you do that directly impacts the social well-being of your community. The idea of non-profit organization was born many years ago with the idea of bringing change in the community. But people have unfortunately misused money that's coming from the non-profit organization for self-use. And with the non-profit organization, you're gonna build a beautiful legacy for the entire community. But the non-profit organization does not belong to an individual. So you're building a legacy for your family, you're building a legacy for the community when you go the route of social entrepreneurship. You can register, there is no framework that works, there is a framework rather, but you cannot register as a social entrepreneurship anywhere in the CIPC. Register a PTY LTD, and then you say, I operate as a social enterprise wherever you make proposals. What that means, it means you still take care of those 30 kids. But the money that you make with whatever, if I give you funding, if I give you money, if I give you whatever, you also, as an individual, can benefit from your hard work. Ne? The rules compared to the non-profit organization. Again, non-profit organization, as we may all know, it says the work of the organization, you must be compensated for the amount of work done. If you're not doing the work anymore, if you decide to close the organization, you must take all the resources and everything, donate to a similar organization. So I wouldn't advise you to go with a non-profit organization. I would say go for a PTY LTD, but trade as a social enterprise and become a social entrepreneur. Please read more on social entrepreneurship. What does it mean?
Okay. So I like the sports type of businesses because a lot of the times we see it as just the game that we're playing. So we're just seeing it as, please sponsor my netball team, we'll do very good, I'll train them and we'll go far, right? But what it is that you're offering a community is you're taking kids away potentially from drugs and social ills that continue about it. You're giving them an activity that is going to boost their own health, their own physical health. You're creating healthier communities. Now, if you go back and you look at something that they call the social development goals, when you look at that, you are looking at ways of how you are impacting the society for the greater good. And if you position your netball team as a component in a community that is doing the greater good for social development, not just because it's a netball team, but because of the social ills that it takes the kids away from, the experiences that it gives them. When you're playing in a team sport, you're learning a lot about leadership, you're learning a lot about teamwork, you're learning a lot about pride as well, you know, and winning and losing, and all of those things. Those are things that are a personal development element. So now when you ask for sponsorship, you're coming and saying, I am doing an activity that is solving some social issues in my community. Abasa sponsoring netball, because if the person doesn't like netball, like they might just be like, what's netball? Oh, you know, there's no use for this. Why don't you do soccer? But if you then say, position it as something as, I am doing an activity that is taming the social issues in my community, that is giving people a sense of hope, that is giving them a healthier, you know, physical self to present to the world, then I can sponsor that. Right? You can now go to a food sponsor and say, nourish us. You can go to somebody else that's coming in from a mental health perspective and say, coach us for these kids' personal development. You can go to the shoe people and say, look, these kids need to be running around all day. They need protective shoes in order for them to become a pro one day. So you start molding your conversation and looking for sponsorship in a different way. The person doesn't have to care for netball, but they will care about what is going on in the socially for that particular community.
I just want to check, who does business proposals here? Business proposals? You do business proposals? Huh? Okay. Can you please help her? Or you want a fee? Yeah, but can you help her?
Oh, okay, no problem.
And learn from her.
Okay.
And you'll learn more, you'll be able to do more.
Okay.
Where you need help, I'll give you my number.
All right.
We need to serve before we can sell. Because after doing her business proposal, Everybody here might want to do business proposals with you, but you will charge them, but you will not have charged her. Okay? You need to, when I did consulting, I think I was at your age somewhere there, when I started. And I've learned, there are a lot of mistakes in this journey. Where you do a business plan, it goes to the bank, somebody calls you with a bank manager and says, they say your business plan is a crap. So you need to be able to learn, and you can only learn when you do for others, not for yourself. Can you please assist there? I'll give you my numbers. Where you get stuck, let me know. I'll review what you have done and assist you to make sure that she's well positioned.
All right,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Oh, that actually went well. Oh, okay. That actually went well. As I said, you know, when you get attention from the panel, you're doing something right. And we're happy for my sister there because there's this lady who just wanted to ask a question. So I'm going to take her and someone who's available, and I'm closing.
Hi everyone, my name is Anele. I am a farmer, livestock and crops. So I just wanted to ask from the panel, what is that first step that you actually did when you're talking about processes? What's that first process? Because when you're looking for funding, the first thing that they will tell you is register your business, get compliant, and then you'll get funding. So what is that first thing that you actually did to put processes in your business that actually took you to this position that you're in? And with Marang, I wanted to ask you, what are the services that you actually offer? Because I heard you talking about Canva, but I don't really know what you do. Maybe we can benefit, maybe it's something that we can consult from you. I wanted to know, what do you offer? And also, my question personally, because I am a farmer, I'm struggling with markets. How do you actually find your markets? I know you go out there, you try to find people, but I would like to know from your experiences, what is that first thing that you actually did to find your markets, and how did it work for you on your journey? Yeah, thank you.
So, I mean, finding access to market comes from us doing this kind of business model canvas and understanding what it is that I'm offering. And also thinking about how is it that I want to present it to the world. What I mean is, for some people, we could have the same business, but somebody else might decide, I want to make it a YouTube channel that I direct, for me to impart services. Somebody might decide, let me rather write a book. And then the next person would say, let me rather do workshops. Somebody would, let me be a consultant in that space. So once you've thought about that element of how is it that you want to deliver that product or service that you're offering, the process is then easier to figure out what should I be doing. So if I decide I want to make this a YouTube channel, or I want to make it a podcast, what is the process that I need to follow to put it out there? And depending on the platform that I'm using, there's a process to put it on that particular platform. But then there's work that I must do in order for that content to be available for me to put onto that platform. And that it could be researching who I'm going to interview if I'm intending to interview people. If I'm just going to be talking about topics from A to Z, then what is the structure of that conversation? What topics comes first, second, third, and so on. So having planned out those things, that's where your processes would then come in. Then you start thinking about, how am I going to do this? How do I deliver this? Start documenting it, start finding the tools for it, then you can then automate it. Right? What was your other question now? I forgot. Sorry. Okay, so in terms of what do I do? So I provide I'm a consultant first, right? So I go into people's businesses and we look at the business model, and then we look into the processes that you are using to actually deliver the value that you promise to your customers. I document processes, I automate processes, so find the tool for you to then put into your system. I also run training sessions, so we can then train you on the tools that we've implemented, or training on topics like business processes or business model canvas and things. So those are my services that I provide. And I provide that through different channels. So sometimes a corporate is asking me, please come and run a workshop. We've got a room full of entrepreneurs. This is what they need to learn. And then the workshop will focus specifically on that. And in those cases, then corporate has paid for the entrepreneurs to be in that workshop. I also run workshops where entrepreneurs themselves will pay to attend my workshop, so they're not supported by a corporate in an ESD program. That is typically for somebody who says, I want to understand what I need to do, but I can't afford the consulting services myself to do it. Those that can afford the consulting services, then we're in the document, we leave process guides for you in there. We put in a tool into the system for it. We've done the training for people as well. And then, public speaking for me is a marketing tool. It's great that they pay me to market myself, right? But like I said, I speak better than I write marketing content. So for me, it is a marketing tool, so I then took on to public speaking. But what I speak about is things around building ecosystems for entrepreneurs, where digitization then fits in, finding the right tools for entrepreneurs and even corporates to be supporting each other in that development space around it. Why? Because after you've heard me speak, you're gonna pay me to come and run a workshop for you. You get what I mean? So that's how it sits in for me. I hope I answered all your questions. Fantastic.
We are going to the last gentleman here, then it's a wrap.
Sanibonani. Igama ngosizo ngami ngomezulu ngisuka ngapha eMayfield. Business engenzayo electrical and plumbing. I'm specializing in electricity ku install ama prepaid machines. Ngine interest ke ukuwayenza ama prepaid machine. But for okwamanje ngaphansi kwebasize bonke foundation ngiyavolontara as a chairperson. Senza ama skill development, especially ku business management training. Si assistwa yi NYDA. Ngicela nje assistance ke in terms ukuthi because siwenza mahala lama training elokishini. Angazi ke ukuthi bangasizakala kanjani especially the youth because sisebenza nge-youth from 18 up to 34 years old. Benza ama training for 5 days and then after leyo 5 days training bese kuyaphela nje kanjalo kuba nzima ukuthi bacala ama business. Angazi ukuba ngasizakala kanjani maybe ngama grant ukuthi bazocala lama business abane ama interest ngawo.
So I think I touched a little bit when we talk about BE. That's how you can actually raise funding for your training programs that you're training other people for. Né? So you can approach corporates for them to pay for your students to come to the training. And for that, you can use like the ESD funds for that. So it's the Enterprise and Supplier Development Funds. When you're approaching them, you need to tell them how many people you're training, the impact that it has once they've completed the training. Do they get a certificate of attendance? Do they get some sort of certificate as a professional? What do they get after the training? Yeah, it sounds like if it's 5 days, it's probably a certificate of attendance that they're doing, right? Yes. So you're giving them those certificates. Then you find out from the services CETA. What are they called? I think they're called the WR CETA. That's the one that you. Yeah. So no, but doesn't plumbing also have the different? Yeah. So look for the CETA. I could be wrong as to which CETA it is, but the different CETAs, what they have is they've got work placement programs. So if you've registered your company as a training provider, they can then help your students find jobs. And they give those students a stipend where they find jobs. I know you want to encourage them to become self-employed or to run their own businesses, but what that helps is that they then get the training exposure continues beyond the training that you can give them. Then they start seeing how do they service customers, how do they do all of these things, because when you're giving them a very technical component of the business here. Once they've experienced those kind of things, it then becomes easier for them to then say, this is the entrepreneurial, this is the service that I'm going to provide as an entrepreneur for those that can't go off and start their business. Kuyo.
I hope, my brother, you are answered. I believe the advice that you got from our panel will be very helpful. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our last of our program. You guys waited because it was not easy. So, Rohopela picture. Yeah, but Marang Rohopela picture. Yalona le fohe, please. Rokopa picture. Can I please have a 1 minute closing, a word of, with your people?
Well, in closure, I need you to please think about this. It's called excellence at the edge of chaos. How rough when things are going bad for your business. Instead of you dropping the ball and dropping the momentum, you need to accelerate more. It's called excellence at the edge of chaos. Think about it this way. The motorbikes, when they hit the corner, they almost look like they're gonna fall, but they never fall. The secret is that when they hit that edge, they don't slow down. Because if you slow down, science says the gravitational force cannot pull anything that is on high speed. You slow down, you fall. That's my closing remark. Whenever things are not going well for your business, do not slow down. Go on gear 6. Just go. That's what you choose.
I think that's very good advice, Itumeleng, like honestly, in as much as it is a overwhelming experience to be running a business, don't give up on the idea. As long as you really want this to happen, keep seeking out information. Right? Call somebody, send a text message, send a DM on social media and stuff. Be very clear with your questions as well as to what it is that you want to know. Don't be afraid when you don't know how to, don't be afraid to explore how to. A lot of us give up because, I don't know how to do this, and then you sit back and you hold back. You would rather go out and seek those, seek the answers for you to do it. And don't be shy to reinvent yourself. Keep doing it, because times change, the market change, customers' needs change, and you can keep reinventing yourself in a way that you're adapting and growing with them as opposed to being left behind, And you don't change because you're just like, hey, this is the only way I know it, or I still remember a lot of, even 5-6 years ago, there was this belief that people don't do stuff online. They want to be in a physical room, whatever, we can't do training online. Nowadays, I was telling someone that before COVID, people were reluctant to pay for online courses or for online events like this. But now, since COVID, I actually haven't done in-person events other than when T calls me out to do events, believe it or not, right? So we're 5-6 years later, and these are the only in-person events that we do. Other than that, it's all online. So the mindset has changed. The things that we thought we knew or we thought people wouldn't want access to. Now they live on it. So please be adaptable to that change.
Thank you very much. My name is Derrick Ndzavi. Derrick, D-E-R-R-I-C-K. Ndzavi, it's N-D-Z-A-V-I-Y. You'll get me on all the social media platforms. And I'm saying this because if you want a free 30-minute mentorship or business advice, you can just click on my link, then I'll make time for you for free, right? Then I'll be able to connect. But I know that after I've helped you for free, you'll go and tell your cousins who will come and pay. It's fine. Yeah, but other than that, it's for free and no obligation. You get advice, and then if you're lucky, we can go for the whole year. And as I go back to Mozambique, this is what I want to leave you with. Those who are hungry for food, they leave after lunch. But those who are hungry for knowledge, they stay to the end. You stayed to the end because you were hungry for knowledge. And let that hunger not stop here. For your business to grow, it will take you to know something that you don't know now.
Yeah, guys, I'll keep it short and sweet. Basically, chasing something that only you can see is one of the hardest things that you can ever do. So remember why you started, and to the people that have business ideas and they feel like they need funding in order to start, please strip your idea down to a bare minimum, to a point where you can start with what you have right now. So, yeah.